Friday, everybody, and welcome back to the Show Up Fitness Podcast. Today is episode number 32, and it is a beautiful day. Is it because it's beautifully sunny in Santa Monica, or because I just curled the 70s? Well, that's pretty awesome, yes. But I helped someone save $2,000 by getting a refund from their textbook certification. This individual reached out. They want to get hired at Equinox, and they said, well, I have to get certification X. And I said, why? Because that's what they said. Well, how is that possible? Because if you listen to one of our last podcasts, we just had someone get hired at the sports club Equinox in Orange County. We have partnerships with over 200 gyms within Equinox in lifetime. Managers, these gyms want qualified, confident personal trainers, and that's what we teach you at Show Up Fitness when you get your CPT. For less than $400 as of October 1st, 2023. It's $399. You are wasting all of this money for what? Because you think that's the way. And I understand you have some belt buckle hunk telling you that the way that you're trying to pursue your passion is wrong, but I'm here to help you. In today's topic, we're going to get into those who have failed NASM. Oh my gosh, guess what? You are not a failure. We're going to go over how we can help you pass it the second time if you really need it, but that's the real question. Before we get into that though, as you know in these podcasts, we're going to go over a program first. So if you're a NASM head and you don't want to learn to actually how to program utilizing the CCA, just skip forward about 7 to 10 minutes and I'll go over how I can help you pass NASM, as we've helped over 4,000 people. If you failed it, that's life, move on, but ask yourself, do you really need that CPT? I don't think so. You need the best in the business, and that's Show Up Fitness. All right, so today we had someone reach out, and they wanted to know how to train someone who hasn't worked out before, and hasn't used weights, and they weigh over 300 pounds. What would that program look like? And so it always depends. That's the famous trainer answer. You need to screen the individual, do a PAR-Q, physical activity readiness questionnaire, make sure that they are competent enough to go through a little bit of movement. Now, I worked with a client one time who was well over 300 pounds, and they were walking from the parking garage in Santa Monica across the street, less than 200 yards. And when they came in, they're huffing and puffing, but they were huffing and puffing for 5 minutes after they sat down. That's a really bad sign. Heart rate recoverability is what they call that. And if you're huffing and puffing from a very low intense exertion, such as walking across the street, I'm not going to do much from this workout. I'm going to be nice, I'm going to smile, set clear expectations, find out when at the doctor last, and maybe just do like a grip strength, blood pressure, and then schedule a next time to take them through a workout after you get medical clearance. You don't want to mess around with the insides. We can't see that. We need to stay in our lane as personal trainers. Why not take that as an opportunity, if they haven't been to the doctor in a few months or years, to reach out to that individual. Set your team up to be elite, where most trainers want to become a jack of all trades. Why? I got my corrective exercise. I'm now a wellness coach and nutrition coach, life coach, bodybuilding coach. Shut up. Your clients are not impressed by all those acronyms. Great trainers, this is always funny. Go to a great trainer's bio. What do they have? Trainer. They don't lead with all of these esoteric, worthless acronyms that literally mean nothing to your clients. What it is, it's a pissing war amongst other trainers, but you should take a step back and be like, well, why am I competing against trainers who, statistically speaking, aren't going to make it in this industry? So if you really want to become a qualified personal trainer, you're a trainer. Show Up Fitness CPT, it's the best certification in fitness. You put that in there, you're going to stand out from the crowd. But if you have 14 certifications, you have to ask why. And so reach out to these medical professionals, have a conversation with them, let them know you're looking out for your client's best interest, find out if there's any contraindications, ask them who their trainer is. Hey doc, who's your trainer? Oh, you don't have one? Show up tomorrow. I have an appointment at 8 o'clock that cancels in the morning. I'll give that one to you for free. Normally my rates are $200 per hour. Let's get you in there, have some fun, learn what you want to do. If you want some big biceps or a six pack, whatever it is, I got you covered. You show up on time, you're professional, you smell the part, you look the part, take them through a great workout, and now that doc's gonna be like, wow, you are awesome. Trainers have a bad rep because they're hurting people. That's not you. Boom. You're gonna start building your book of business, and you're gonna have referrals coming through that pipeline like nothing. So let's pretend like you got that medical clearance because the client did have some contraindications that you discovered during the assessment. So now you're here and you're going to take them through an hour workout. Instead of your normal CCA, what I would do is have a CA or a C in mind. So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to do a squat pattern, a hinge pattern, a unilateral, complement that with an accessory. So normally we do a C, core movement pattern, and accessory. So you have a dude who wants to get a bigger chest, full body would be bench press into chin-ups into abs. But for someone who's morbidly obese, I wouldn't do that. What I would do is a core movement pattern and accessory, or just a core movement. And the reason I say either or is because I'm going to make that decision during the warm-up. So after I screen them, we talk, I learn about their goals. They're talking 70% of the time. I'm listening, attentive, taking notes, smiling. I'm not checking my phone. And then when we go and do the warm-up portion, we hit those 10 checkpoints of movement: ankle, knee, hip, lumbar, thoracic, cervical, shoulder, elbow, wrist, some breathing drills. We hit all 10 of those. By doing some simple movements, I'm going to determine if I can do a CA or a C. So maybe you start out with just a C, and we do 6 bodyweight squats. They sit down, I'm asking questions. I'm not saying I'm going to take it really easy on you because you're out of shape and fat. Nope, not going to work very well. So you're going to make that decision based on what you discover during that initial portion. And you do that for 2 sets, maybe 3. And then you can move into the second circuit and then you implement a CA. So we did bodyweight squats. Now we're going to do a very low step up. Or on our Instagram page, Show Up Fitness Internship, Josh, he's our instructor. He teaches today at 1 o'clock California time. If you haven't been in one of his classes, literally one of the best out there, because you're going to learn how to regress every pattern and progress it to make it appropriate for that individual in front of you. So he has a banded step down. So here in Santa Monica, we have these 2 bars. You put a band across it and you just step down. Because a step up may be too challenging for that individual. And if you're a newer trainer, you're thinking like, what the hell? I was going to do lunges with my morbidly obese client. I am not shitting you. We had someone reach out to us recently applying to Show Up Fitness. And I told them, do you have your Show Up Fitness CPT? No, they didn't. So they're not going to get hired, but I entertained it. And I looked at their program and it was god awful. On God, I'm going to learn more about this Gen Z vocabulary on the next podcast. But it was literally one of the worst programs I've ever seen in my entire life. And they used what is the scariest thing in the world, experience, as their way in the door. I've been a trainer for 7 years. I know what I'm doing. That's your program? So my mind goes, holy shit. If you've trained 100 people and 6 of them got results, what happened to the other 94? That's why we have a bad rep. So you regress it to the lowest hanging fruit. Set clear expectations for your client. My goal is to get you through this hour workout. We're not going to do any crazy workouts, anything you saw on Biggest Loser or online, battle ropes, stupid little ladder drills. I'm going to see how you move, make it challenging just enough so you show up the next time. You know what the single best workout is? The one you show up to next. And so set those clear expectations with your clients. We want to find the middle porridge. Goldilocks and the bears. Too hard, they're never going to come back. Too easy, they're never going to come back. Right in the middle. So we do some step downs, and I ask my client, what's your favorite muscle? If a genie were to pop out of a lamp right now and go, bam, what muscle do you want? Keep it PC. It's always the guys who say weird shit. And they say biceps. Cool, you do some bicep curls. Keep the reps lower. I'm not talking about volitional fatigue lower, or they're doing a 5-rep max. I'm talking about you do 6 step-ups on the left side, 6 step-ups on the right side, and then you do 8 bicep curls. For most people who are beginners, we do 10 to 15, use like a 15, 12, 10. Each round you go a little heavier, but I'm going to keep it relatively light because I want this experience to be enjoyable for that individual. We cannot even begin to fathom what's going through their head in 1 hour. So be positive, make it enjoyable, find out what they like to do. I was talking to one of our trainers here in Santa Monica who's working with his client right before this podcast, and they were talking about magic cards, and they had a great conversation for like 30 minutes. The client loved it. You need to be relatable. What does the client want? That's the most important question you should be asking. So we have our first C, we move into a CA. Ask your client, how you holding up? At any time, if you feel lightheaded or dizzy, let me know. We have some glucose tablets I can give you. And if they do, if you notice that they start getting a little dizzy or dazed just from that light exertion, which is very possible, take one of the glucose tablets with them. Don't make them feel like a leper. Oh, you need this. Oh, you're really out of shape. No, all these things are great. Pop one in, pop two in. They're like little Pop-Tarts. They're great. And your client will swish it around. We have something under our tongue called the sublingual gland, lingual tongue, sub underneath, and it will get into your bloodstream immediately. So they start feeling better. And they're going, wow, this trainer is really special. I was really scared coming into this appointment because he has a belt buckle, he's all jacked up, and I thought he was going to be doing crazy stuff. But he communicated really well, and this workout's been enjoyable. And at the end, you do a CAA, maybe you do a CCA. You make that decision based on how they're doing. How are you feeling right now? Do you have some left in the tank? We have a squat, we have a unilateral. Let's do a hinge into a plank because you're in that position. And then you have them get back up. And then when they're ready, get back down. You do a hinge, a plank, you get back up. Get back down, get back up, put a song on, have some fun with it. Get up, get down, get up, get down. And then they're smiling and they're like, wow, you know what? That was doable. I can come in the next time to do this. And that workout right there is exactly what I would do with someone who's morbidly obese. I may modify it depending on if they're huffing and puffing too much in the beginning. If it's too easy at the end, maybe I'll throw in some load-bearing stuff, some cable rows, some farmer's walks. This is all dependent on what I determine from that initial assessment and how they do. Check their blood pressure. If it's greater than 140 and or 90, I'm going to be very, very cautious of gripping things, holding things too tight. Be very mindful of their breathing. So that's what I would do with someone who's morbidly obese, 300 pounds plus. Most importantly, be positive. Learn about them. Say their name. Show them a new exercise. Just because they're morbidly obese doesn't mean they may want to have a perfect body part. Ask them. They say deltoids, do some lateral raises. Hold, trainer engagement, push their arms down. Get them to smile. Don't treat them like they're beneath you. Introduce them to everyone around. And guess what? You've now helped someone. Sign them up because you're great with business. All things we teach you at Show Up Fitness. Now let's get into this NASM stuff. So you failed NASM. You're not a failure. It's all right. National Academy of Spectacular Marketing, they do a great job of getting in front of you. You came across Show Up Fitness too late. You can't get a refund. Or you have that thing called the sunk cost fallacy. You failed it once or twice, or you already invested $3,000. I had someone the other day say they spent over $4,000. I felt for them. I wanted to go have a drink of whiskey just to ease the pain because that $4,000 investment did very little to nothing for them. And so you need confidence. You need to be able to navigate the fitness landscape. And if you failed NASM, your mindset is in the dumps. So you want to go and try it again. I need to pass this to be a credible trainer. You don't. If there's a specific gym that says, I need NASM, reach out to me. I'll talk to them. Because we have partnerships at Equinox and Lifetime, over 200 gyms. How are they partnered with us and accept to Show Up Fitness CPT, but you're not? And that manager goes, well, insurance. Okay, you're a small gym, insurance, K&K Insurance. I have Show Up Fitness in Santa Monica, La Jolla. Our gyms are covered. All of our trainers have Show Up Fitness CPT. How are they able to train? And they don't need NASM, ACE, ISSA. And then that's when they go, oh shit. Yeah, because I know the accreditation process. We're going through it in the States. We're going through it in Europe. We are changing the industry by creating qualified trainers. It's all smoke and mirrors. There's a great marketing company out there, these profit organizations that spend a lot of money to get in front of you. So if you see a big M in the sky, does that mean it's the best food in the world? No. It's fast food. These textbook certifications, a lot of them are the same thing. They're the fast food of fitness. Here's an email from someone today that we helped pass a NASM CPT. I passed my CPT on the first try thanks to your study guide and platform. I'm now ready to become a Show Up Fitness CPT. Without your study guide, I would have been completely lost. The guide helped me focus on the OPT model, underactive, overactive muscles, stages of change, proper spotting, code of conduct, and a bit on nutrition and SAQ. How can I leave you a 5-star review? Let me know where I can do that. So I reached out to him, my boy Juan, and said, hey, leave us a 5-star review for the podcast, finish up your month in the CPT program, and then you make the decision what's the best certification in fitness. I'm going to put my hands back here and just watch. You have your NASM now, get yourself in a CPT, and you decide. One sets you up for success, learning the business, the trade, people skills. The other one's going to push you into getting the CES, the PES, the WLS, lifetime, bodybuilding, all of these certifications. But you don't even get to ask questions to professionals. We're going to help you with your resume, Juan. We're going to help you with the interview process, what the managers are looking for so you can get out there and start helping people properly and safely. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I failed, I suck, you don't. I love you. Belt Buckle Trainer's here to help. I'm annoying. I got it. I got 3 older brothers. That's how I had to survive. We have other people who teach these classes. Monday we have Ashley. She's a saint. She's a mom. She is your motherly figure for NASM. We have Megan. She's your badass hunkette. She's going to help you with that. And so I'm backing off the NASM, the A stuff, because I'm focusing on international growth, getting into other countries, because unfortunately too many people think there's only one way to become a trainer. There's other ways that will set you up for far greater success, and that's what we're doing. So if you hear OPT model, your brain needs to go 5 phases. So if you failed the NASM exam, when I talk to people, it's the fundamentals that they don't know. They'll say things like, oh my God, I got so much on this or that. Calm down. Talk to me about the planes of motion. Sagittal is here as they're waving their arms to the side. No, that's frontal. Oh, going forward is frontal. No, that's sagittal. What's the definition of sagittal? I don't know. What's phase 3 rep range? That's the 12 plus. No, that's stabilization. So we don't even know the basics of this exam. You need to be able to spin it out like that. OPT model, 5 parts. Phase 1, stabilization. 12 plus reps. That's going to be 0 to 60 seconds of rest. 4, 2, 1, 1 tempo. 4 means eccentric. 2, isometric. 1, concentric. The best exercise in the world is a stupid fucking stability ball, squat, curl, press. You better do that on everyone, as well as foam roll and stretch. Or what happens? You die. You have to do this because your muscles are overactive. Know the overactive muscles. Starting the most superior, upper traps, latissimus dorsi, pectoralis major. You're going to have your psoas major, your hip flexor, your hamstrings on the lateral part, biceps femoris, gastrocnemius in your soleus. Know that. The other part is the underactive. Underactive we strengthen with the 4-2-1-1. Starting with the most inferior, which means below, anterior tibialis. Moving up to the VMO, vastus medialis oblique. Posterior side, your glutes. You have your TVA, as NASM likes to call it. That's your transverse abdominis. And you have your rhomboid major and minor underneath the middle and lower trapezius. You need to know that like that. So if you understand the overactive and underactive ones, those questions are really easy. Your client's performing the overhead squat assessment, which is absolutely idiotic, but if you want to do it and scare people, sure, go ahead. Let's see what your closing percentage is after that. And so the arms come forward, latissimus dorsi, teres major, overactive, mid-back, middle trapezius, lower trapezius, rhomboid major and minor, underactive. What do we do to overactive? 4-2-1-1. Know the exercises that are associated with each part. So things that we're doing in phase 1. Prone iso ab. When was the last time you heard someone fucking say that? Let's do some prone iso abs. It's a plank, dipshit. Get on your elbows, see how long you can hold for. But the spine isn't moving. That's going to be stabilization. The spine moves. Now we're going to progress into phase 2, 3, and 4, which is strength. And then we have power. Power is the top one. You have to stay in each phase for a month. And then you can progress based on the client's goals. Because muscular development, again, when was the last time someone went to the gym? The OPT model's so great. Literally, it is one of the worst things I've ever come across. As a strength coach, it was developed by a physical therapist. Don't get me wrong, Dr. Clark, an absolute hunk, very, very smart, knows his stuff with therapy, not with periodization. So we're learning all about therapeutical models and aspects of programming, which stabilization would be appropriate if you were a therapist. But guess what? We're trainers, and our clients don't show up to get on a fucking Bosu ball and Eric's pad. They come in to get results. They want to learn how to move properly, not be scared with some stability ball, squat, curl, press. But that's what you need to know for the exam. Put your hat on, answer it the way that they want you to, and then move on to actually learning how to be a respected trainer. So in phase 2, 3, and 4, when the spine moves, that's going to be any type of strength exercise. So a reverse curl, your spine is moving. Concentric is shortening. Eccentric is lengthening. When there's rotation, as seen with a med ball toss or throw, that's going to now be in phase 5. We foam roll everyone. You got to foam roll in phases 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not only that, it's 5 to 10 minutes, but also 5 to 10 minutes at the end. I can't make this shit up. Look at the programming in the textbook. They have you foam roll for 10 to 20 minutes. Find me I'll tell you right now, my clients that pay me $250 per hour, if I foam rolled and stressed with them for 20 freaking minutes, they would laugh at me. They wouldn't even be in our facilities. Okay, Chris, get off your high horse. Let's help you pass NASM. Come back to earth, big guy. We got this. And so then when you go into phase 5, any type of explosive movement, which is referred to as PAP training, post-activation potentiation. They don't call it that though. It's just phase 5, power, 1 to 10 reps. You're going to be resting 3 to 5 minutes. 2 to 5, 3 to 5, same difference. Know that the weight is going to be lighter, 30 to 50% of your 1RM, but it's explosive. We have something called the force velocity curve. So when the weight is heavy, as seen in phase 4, 1 to 5 reps, 85 to 100% of your 1RM. The weight is heavy, but the velocity is slow. It's not moving very fast. It's type 2 fibers that are being recruited. We can also recruit the type 2 fibers by doing things that are light and fast, like jumping properly. Load your hands behind the body, and then you come up. If you jump like Tinkerbell, that shows me you have no idea how to move. Let's jump in the air and throw our arms back like with Tinkerbell. Nope, that just shows me you're an influencer, not a fitness professional. So then after we have phase 4, we're going back down the model now because we went to 5 and I'm just dancing all over the place because this is actually going to help you pass the exam because what you're doing is memorizing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I learned all about OPT and then all about overactive, underactive. Let's get into how to do this stuff. You got to dance around so your brain is ready for the exam because they're going to ask you a question on heart anatomy, such as what are the names of the superior chambers? Those are going to be your atriums. Then they're going to ask you about an overactive muscle when a client's squatting. And the knees dip in. Knee valgus, you basically have syphilis. So what do we need to do? You're going to foam roll the adductors because those are overactive. And then they're going to ask you about a stage of change. Your client doesn't want to work out. They haven't thought about it in 13 years. What stage are they in? All right, and then they're going to come back to a heart question. The SA node, what is it referred to as? Pacemaker of the heart. Here's a nutrition question. What % of your clients are consuming, what % of the diet is consumed in carbohydrates? 45 to 65. Don't consume more than what % of saturated? Less than 10%. How many calories in 1 gram of fat? 9. 4 for protein and carbs. So by understanding everything across the board and dancing all around, which we teach you, we prepare you, so when you put that hat on, you pass it, then you can move out to actually learning from clients and the people skills. Because if you tell a client that their upper trapezius is overactive or they have pronation distortion syndrome, I wish I could get a camera and watch clients' facial reactions. What did you just say? I have what? Oh, you have a syndrome. It's okay. Let me fix you. Nope, I'm okay. I'm going to go work with someone who actually knows how to work with me. All right? So this is how they're going to navigate through the exam. Then they're going to throw a question at you about the OPT model, phase 3. How long are we resting for? 0 to 60 seconds. They may ask you a specific question on an exercise, such as a push-up. Where would that go in the OPT model? It's going to be stabilization. What type of exercise is a push-up? Is it closed or open? The most distal part being my hands are not moving. They're on the ground. So it's a closed kinetic chain exercise, whereas a bench press is an open kinetic chain exercise because the distal region being my hands are moving. So if I were to ask you which of the following is a closed kinetic chain exercise, a squat or a leg extension, you need to go immediately, squat because your feet are on the ground. And then a leg extension's open. So this is what we're teaching you, is to understand the testing and what it's like. I have no insider information. I don't work for NASM. I don't have tests or interview people and say, tell me exactly what's on the test. No. I help you focus on the big blocks. OPT model, overactive, underactive, basic exercise vocabulary, knowing the stages of change, the assessment process. That's the bulk of it. And so when you're going through the exam and you see a question you're not familiar with, which could be one of the ones that they're testing on because they have 20 that you don't know, you're focused on, what the hell does that mean? It's so confused. Yeah, it is confusing. Move on. Who cares? Your brain's going to remember that just like you remember where you were 9/11. That's how psychology works. So I know for a fact the reason you failed the exam is because you didn't know the basics. Orientation, lateral, medial, superior, inferior, anterior, posterior, basic anatomy, exercises on how to regress and progress, what NASM wants for those exercises. Where is this going to go in the OPT model? So we get all freaked out, our heart rate's through the roof of all this cortisol, which is a catabolic hormone, floating through the body, not allowing us to remember. We freak out, well, what you should do. So what did Juan do? Take a big deep breath in. This test doesn't define you as a person. It's the smallest part of your journey as a trainer. And if you really did your research, go out there and interview 10 trainers and see if this certification set them up for success. I haven't met one personally. Everyone who passes, they come to me and say, I'm more confused than when I began. So you got to understand the fundamentals, anatomy, programming, regressions, progressions, the business, because you need to sell. So when it comes to passing the exam, focus on the big blocks, everything OPT model and all of the acute variables, rest, reps, percentages, exercise associated with each part. And then you need to know everything about the overactive, underactive, the assessment protocol, and what the ones they're going to test you on with upper body agility, lower body agility, stages of change, and everything that you have just heard today, we give you in our study guide. We have live calls with instructors. Your goal is to get through this as quickly as possible. If you listen to all this bullshit that's out there, well, this guy said I got to read the whole textbook, and this group over here says I should really know these 900 vocab words from every single chapter. Nope. You're going to be widespread and not hyper-focused. Well, it's going through the NASM quizzes. Stop. Shh. Shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Don't do that because you're getting a bunch of information that's irrelevant. Focus on the big blocks. You want to get the lowest possible score to slide in so you can move on. And if you fail and you don't want to take it again, I don't encourage you to. Ask yourself the most important freaking question. Do you feel like this test is going to make you a qualified trainer? How do you become a doctor? How do you become a lawyer? How do you become an electrician? Hands-on learning, watching other people, trying it, and then getting supervised by someone saying, that's right, that's wrong. This is a multiple choice test question. You're not being set up for success. Success is asking questions, learning programming, anatomy, movement competency, how to regress, progress, different case examples, asking questions. That's what we provide at Show Up Fitness. That's why we're the best CPT. Focus on the guide. Get through this 7 days. Move on. Have a great day, y'all. Keep showing